Hello, friends. Welcome to part three of our Champions League podcast. Welcome to another part of the Soccer Ways podcast. So, we will continue with our uh, preview of Champions League round of 16, which now, after I think 2 months break, will begin in February second week. Okay, so we have already covered two German teams, Mönchengladbach and Bayern Munich. The third tie we will come involves a Spanish and English team. Atletico Madrid takes on Chelsea in round of 16. So I would like Sunny to share his thoughts on this one. So will Simeone, as his European experience, will prove much for Lampard's flamboyance?
To be really honest, let me do a quick recap. When the round of 16 draw was being made in Neon headquarters of UEFA, Czech was present to represent Chelsea, and immediately when the tie of with Atletico came out, immediately there was a change of face for him. He suddenly become more serious, and he mentioned that Atletico are notoriously famous to defeat in knockout rounds, and this is Chelsea's one of the toughest draw Chelsea could have had for this round of 16. And to be really honest, I would like to put things in perspective that the group stage which I mentioned, Chelsea had a kind of brush through it as if the competition doesn't exist. Now the competition for round of 16 is on a different level, and Chelsea will have a very tough time, especially with I think Vedanta mentioned the team is not gelled as of now completely. So that, and Athletic is on the opposite side of the scale. Their team is anything but not gelled. They are like one man playing with 11 bodies. So, and Diego Simeone has his team pumped up for every knockout round that like there is no tomorrow. So Chelsea might see themselves crash out. That's what I have a feeling. And now there's to be that to make this thing that Lampard might be having doubts about finishing top of the group, which kind of gave them the tie. And Sevilla on the other hand is having a easy, comparatively easy round of 16.
Yeah, to interject though, I will slightly disagree. I do think there's a very good chance that Chelsea can overtake Atletico, because if we have followed Atletico as a team, their entire strength lies in taking away what the opponent does best. So, for example, last year they took away the fact that like Salah and Mane love to play at half turn. They completely took that away and dared Liverpool to beat them via crosses or something like that. The thing with this Chelsea is that nobody knows what they do well.
So there's nothing to take away, like what you are trying to say. There's nothing good in Chelsea.
Exactly.
Yeah, they are very much
But
unpredictable. I
they
mean,
have the best keeper in the between the two ties between the two teams. They have the best keeper in Kepa.
Atletico?
If they play
Oh
Kepa,
yes. He's
I think
they
he's the
are.
best manager, not the keeper.
No, I think to be
maybe
honest,
Lampard can play in the sticks now. Even Czech is
Yes.
registered for the
yes,
tournament, so Czech can himself put
yes.
on his
I mean,
hockey boots and come and keep.
so
Yes, but I do genuinely think that because of that unpredictability that Chelsea has, and I do not think that's a good thing in general, but I do think that plays a factor, because I do not know, like, I cannot imagine Simeone going into the planning room, and being like, this is the thing that I have to take away from Chelsea, because Chelsea doesn't know what they have to take away from themselves, right? Nobody knows. It's just like flooding the box and then praying to God that
So
something happens. So yeah,
that's true. And
yeah,
that makes it.
let me hear what another London rival, Mr. Anirban, has to say about this,
no, I only say good things about people,
about Chelsea.
about everyone in general. But what I think is, I mean, yeah, like Vedanta has made a very good point. So they are unpredictable, but up until February, I think teams might predict a pattern in their play. But on their day, with their attacking talent, Chelsea can be a handful. On the other hand, I think, to be honest, whatever kind of rigid 4-4-2. Simeone is again playing this season, so it will be a very difficult. Especially, I don't know if the fans will be come back, and with the field Wanda Metropolitano, I mean, it's a one-legged tie for Chelsea. They have to do the job at Bridge. I don't see them going in Wanda Metropolitano and getting the win there. So that's a good thing. I think it's in Chelsea's favor if the fans doesn't come back till then.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think we have already spent much time. So yeah, I mean, going to the next one. So this is also pretty special. So Leipzig. So nobody can say they are uh, anymore a surprise package. So they are established side, and Nagelsmann is doing his magic again. Uh, so they have, like we just discussed, they have outplayed in the final day. First 30 minutes, United have just played out of the park in Leipzig. So yeah, they take on all the English champions Liverpool, and they just look like a well-oiled machine at this point. I mean, with you took out 4 of their back forward, but they still keep on and on and on. So we are not sure, although, what they are going to do in February, but it's going to be one hell of a tie. What do you think, Sunny?
I have to say that they are two teams who have a similar kind of playing style, but I believe Leipzig has a much lesser extent of gegenpressing and than Liverpool. Klopp has this style of play, and it's probably him you can relate to. But with the injuries which Liverpool have in their backline, especially, it's difficult to move Fabinho all around the park for 90 minutes without really his legs coming off. He's not that kind of a player. He's much more static than the mobile Joey Gomez and Van Dijk. So there is something there. So the injuries, though you would not like it this way, the injuries have put this tie on an even note than it should have been. But I think that's going to count against Liverpool. And if Klopp manages to keep his temper on check, Liverpool might come through this tie even. But I'm optimist, so I would imagine Liverpool goodbye to this Champions League this season.
Oh, now that will be a stretch even Nagelsmann will not make at this point, perhaps. But yeah, I think you mentioned a very interesting point. So yeah, although Liverpool midfield might not be that fast, but in terms of physicality, Wijnaldum, Henderson, uh, mm, might be like so too much for Sabitzer and Haidara to handle. So that's something. So what do you think, Orko, of this type?
No, like he said, it's a two very similar teams, two teams who like to have that attacking brand of football, who do not want to go for this square passes. They all have vertical passes, and whenever they can, they have runners with the ball. Both of the teams, they have players who can run towards the opponent's defense with the ball, and even without the ball, they have people taking away the defender. So yeah, as somebody who does not, let's just put it this way, as somebody who does not support Liverpool, I just don't want them going through it. Because let's be fair, if Liverpool goes through this, Liverpool has automatically gets the better morale to pretty much defend or shrug off anybody they face, because Leipzig is no more a team that can be taken in the
No, no,
that can be
certainly not.
counted as the
Certainly.
underdogs. They are genuine contenders to
Of
at least,
course.
if not for the title, then at least
Semi-final finish.
semi-finals. I'd say at least.
Yeah, they are a very good team with some of the Europe's best. And just to think of it, they have few of their players injured as well, or coming back
And they
from
have some of
injuries.
the
So
Yes,
brightest
and
prospects
non
in the squad as well. So yes, Leipzig are not to be taken for granted. Absolutely not. Even though your name is Liverpool, you cannot just shrug them off.
Yeah. And as you said, no one wants Liverpool to go through. I see no point in Liverpool playing the next round.
I mean, I am a Barcelona fan. I just don't want Liverpool to go through.
okay.
but
So yeah, yeah,
I
brother.
do think that given the amount of injuries that Liverpool has, especially right now, how their squad is out, and they're basically running on fumes. And like as we all know, like the stretch from December to January is like the most brutal stretch in the Premier League. Like I would be surprised if they have like 18 players available for like the round of 16 time to begin with. So
Okay.
yeah, like
Okay.
it's going to be a brutal stage. Like half their squad is out. I expect a lot more injuries too.
Yeah, let's
So
see what happens, because I mean both of the teams likes to impose their game on the opponent, and these are both high
And
exactly.
physical teams.
just to add to that, if Leipzig, there is something against Leipzig also. If you try counter-attacking, vertical counter-attack, which Mourinho tried in the last match against Liverpool, it didn't work out. You try vertical attacking, counter-attack is very interesting because it has Tottenham have two very fast players in front, right at the front. So they play the farthest past when they're counter-attacking, and it didn't work out. So that way you cannot win. So you have to beat them in their own play for Leipzig. So let's hope. Like I say, optimism.
Yeah, okay. With that, let's move on to the next one. So next one, I think, yeah, it's a very interesting one. The Portuguese champions versus Italian champions, Porto versus Juventus. So what do you think, Vedanta? Will that be kickoff for Ronaldo, or yeah? So we have another surprise in store.
Like the problem with this match is like, firstly, the biggest attacking threat that Porto has is named Corona. So I already have very weird feelings about that team in general. But that being said, I do think that, I mean, Porto has shown that it's their top class defensive team. They generally play three men at the back. They are very solid. They never lose games, so as to speak. There's a very good defensive structure with like Leite, Mbemba, and Malangsar, with Oliveira playing in front of them. And so, given that they do not lose too many games, they're generally very error free. And given how sloppy Juventus has been throughout this season, I think there's a real chance for an upset. There's a
Unless
very real chance for
Otamendi
an
plays,
upset.
it is they remain error-free. Otamendi is
I think
synonymous
Otamendi is at
to error.
Benfica.
Oh, he's in Benfica. Oh, my
Otamendi,
goodness, you're well informed. My
yeah,
mistake. My mistake. I just got walked
yeah,
up when you said error-free. So Otamendi is error-free.
yes. No. Those two things cannot go at the
I
same
watch
time.
Argentina, so Otamendi not error-free.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely not. But
Anyways, we are diverting.
fortunately, or yes. So yes. So, and I think over this time we have seen that like it's very easy to get at Juventus. It's easy to say run in behind and all of those things. But they have been, so far they have been very good at the Champions League. And there's a chance that they turn things around and they find this year of consistency. But there's also a very good chance of upset because they are a team that has a lot of bad habits. They do lack quality in certain key positions, especially in the right back area and all of those spots. There's a genuine lack of quality there. So, and especially given how much like Zaidu Sanusi and all of those guys have played, I can see Porto getting to Juventus. But I would expect Juventus to pull through, and especially given how much Cristiano Ronaldo loves scoring against Porto. And there's that, as a Sporting Lisbon fan, he has always targeted Porto. So I expect the squad's focus level to be at a very high level. So I think the Juventus pulls through, but I think there's a more than decent chance for an upset to happen, and so that's something that I would keep an eye out for.
Okay. So yeah, I'd come to Sunny now. So Sunny, we are all talking about only Ronaldo, and Vedanta has rightly talked about Porto being a very solid defensive with Pepe. But don't you think Juventus has enough creative talent in Chiesa? McKennie is playing really well, and perhaps Diabla will be fit at that point of February. So do you think Juventus has enough to unlock this very steady Porto defense?
I'd like to point something out to you, all of us, that Juventus' major Achilles heel was their midfield. They was not playing, gelling well. They did not have their combination right last season, and they had a change of style from Sari to previously Allegri and all that. So that change and the midfield not playing together has been worked out by Pirlo, because now I see the Juventus midfield is playing better than the defense, which sounds pretty, damning, because they don't concede much with their famous backline, but their midfield is doing a much better job. So with Rabiot, Ramsey, and Bentancur, and whoever else plays in front of them, they will create chances. And Paulo is of course, no need to mention, he's a world-class midfielder in his time. So they are going to create chances. So, and with Ronaldo, like Vedanta said, in knockout try rounds and especially against Porto, he will score. So there is no, unless Porto score more than Juve, they're not going to win this tie. So I can see this
So
going on.
I think you have mentioned some heavyweight names in the form of Ramsey Bentancur, but the American McKennie has been stealing the
Yeah,
spotlight
McKennie solidifies that this thing base.
in this Champions League. So this is absolutely crazy. So there is a dearth of talent in the
Yeah,
Juventus midfield.
midfield is
But
now.
yet another American youngster coming and making his mark
Yeah,
from Bundesliga. So
yeah,
that's fascinating to watch.
fascinating. And
Uh,
on loan with never been
yeah,
heard of before, probably.
of course, that's of course fascinating to watch in Italy. So yeah, okay. So I think since we are short of time, we would like to have this discussion more, but I have to move on to next one. So this one is a big one. Again, maybe meet of old friends. Barcelona taking on Paris Saint-Germain. So I think it all reminds us the famous comeback, perhaps the most intriguing 5-1 comeback by Barcelona.
Six one,
The
I think.
Neymar, yeah, 6-1, right? 6-1. Neymar, Messi masterclass, but now they are on the opposite side. So
If you
Arko,
add the
what's your
referee, it
thoughts
will
on
come to
this one?
7-1.
Okay, so Arko, good one.
I
So
don't
Arko,
know
what are
where
your
to
thoughts on
start.
this one?
I don't know where to start with this match, PSG versus Barcelona. I'm not sure if I should be saying this personal stuff, but I remember going crazy about that remontada match, the comeback match, and that match was just the night before my board exams. So this is what this match means. So coming from the 2017 PSG to Barcelona versus the 2021 version of PSG versus Barcelona, how have the things changed? The MSN do not have uh, anything. I mean, it's just one third of the MSN left. Neymar now plays for the other side of the tie, and it is pretty much, it's very weird. So Barcelona right now is going to this tie as an underdog. I think that pretty much sums up everything. Even before the first leg, or even before the draw was made, it was pretty evident that whoever Barcelona plays, it is they're going as the underdogs. That is pretty much summing up. Like, how many players do we know who has played for both PSG as well as Barcelona? Neymar, Dani Alves, Maxwell, and even the Rafinha. So this PSG versus Barcelona this is a famous fixture for, of course, for obvious reasons. But I think it'll be pretty interesting to see how both teams line up, because Barcelona, as we know, they're struggling in the league. Yes, in Champions League they have shown better form, but they're nowhere near perfection. But same goes with PSG. PSG started off the group pretty shaky, and then they became the eventual champions of the groups. And here we are, Barcelona versus PSG. Now, I think a very crucial factor about this tie would be the 2 months that both teams have in store, because we came to know about the ties as soon as December, mid-December, and the ties are, if I'm not wrong, on 16th February or something like that, mid-February. So obviously, this factor will play a big role, that we have 2 months. Mm, Both the clubs have 2 months to think about it and proceed how to go about the match. So yeah, this is going to be an interesting and obviously a thrilling encounter on both legs.
Yeah, very good insight.
Yeah.
So also we cannot forget Neymar has been injured recently, so we'll have to see how much long-term impact that takes or does not take on the tie. So yeah,
Unless
so
unless and until the tie is on his sister's birthday, I do expect Neymar to play.
yeah, no, I think the extent of injury and how much Tuchel want to use him in the league. So that's a food for thought. And of course, so they are relied on Neymar, of course. Now, so yeah, like I said, we are short of time, so I would have to move to the next one. Sevilla taking on Borussia Dortmund, so who are currently without a permanent manager, and so their forms have been topsy-turvy in league, but in Europe they have done well. So, but we don't know what in store and what's they're gonna. And also their defense of Burki and Hummels have been breached repeatedly this season. So, and Sevilla has some attacking players. So, what do you think, Vedant? Which way is this tie gonna go?
I think this is a tie of where there's not a lot of yay. I think honestly, Sevilla has been horribly underperforming this year because given the fact that Barcelona, Madrid and Barcelona took a step back, you would have expected them to actually challenge for the title. They haven't. They have been very disappointing. There's a lack of cohesion. There's a lack of clarity, and obviously, while they are still trying to push through that, it's obvious that they haven't found their groove yet. On the other hand, I do expect Borussia Dortmund to find some sort of the proverbial new manager bounce. So by the time the round of 16 rolls around, and especially given the amount of talent that Borussia has on attack, and given how much of a disaster that Diego Carlos has been this season, I expect Dortmund to win pretty comfortably.
All right. All right. So yeah, so coming back to our last tie, the eighth one. So Orko, you are a cooler, but I have to ask you to analyze the tie of Real Madrid to take on Italian surprise package Atalanta. So what do you think Madrid's tie with Atalanta holds for us?
For the second year running, Atlanta has been having a fairy tale. Gasperini absolutely transformed this Atlanta side. They absolutely look like a side that is going that looks high on confidence, on morale. Yes, the inclusion of Papu Gomez in the fixture, that will be a very big doubt because of we know the fallout he had with his manager Gasperini. So Atlanta are a side who are ruthless in attack. They won't stop until and unless the referee tells you to stop, and all this time they will attack. Yes, Real Madrid, they have the presence of Sergio Ramos in their squad. It makes just Sergio Ramos's presence in the backline makes the entire formation of the Real Madrid squad. How many times have we seen Varane make schoolboy errors? But every time he knows Ramos is beside him, he transforms to the Varane we know. So anyhow, this is the Champions League. This is Real Madrid's own cup. They've won it 13 times, a record 13 times. Obviously, you can't write off Atlanta, but I really don't see Atlanta going through Real Madrid after the round of 16.
Okay, so you made an interesting point of their defensive stability, but I think we also have to look at the midfield in here a bit. So last time against City in the last year, so De Bruyne absolute run circles around Real Madrid midfield. So although I think the players like Valverde, Cruz, Modric, and Casemiro, they are very good players, but it's we have to see that how they contain this Atalanta midfield and this wing backs and this overflowing style, like you said. So what do you guys think, Sunny and Vedanta, quickly?
I do think that I think that Atlanta has a very good chance of going through. If you have seen know one thing about Atlanta is that they always step up in the big games, and especially given their talent, I do think there's a very good chance they find uh, certain crooks and crannies within the Real Madrid backline in order to exploit. So I do think Atlanta has a very good chance, but as Orko said, I expect Real Madrid to go through. But I think it's a 60-40 tie. It's through a toss-up.
Okay, 60 in the favor of Atalanta, you were saying.
60, no, 60 to the 60 for Real Madrid, 40 for Atlanta.
Okay. So that's very interesting. So, folks, if you see Atalanta going through in the first week of March, don't be surprised because our friends and experts here have predicted this. So, with with this, it brings me great pleasure to say we have concluded another episode of the Soccer Wave podcast, and this was a very interesting one. And I, Anirban, Sunny, and everyone from the Soccer Web family, thank you for participating, Vedanta and Arko, and thanks to all our listeners and now viewers. And please do listen and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Thank you and have a good night.
Thank you. It's been a pleasure. Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.